Today the topic is internal combustion engines. IC engine has two types based on the stroke, 2-stroke and 4-stroke. These are the cut section of IC engines. The parts of IC engines: the spark plug, exhaust valve, intake valve, rings, cylinder, piston rod, pistons. During the suction stroke, the pistons move from DDC to BDC. At the time inlet valve open, air fuel enter into the cylinder. When the piston is reached BDC, then start to move upward direction. At the time inlet valve open, exhaust valve closed, inlet valve closed conditions. Start compression stroke. During the compression stroke, pressure increases, temperature increasing and volume decreases. The parts means spark plug, piston, piston rings, intake valve, exhaust valve, crankshaft, cylinder, cylinder block, piston rod. The internal combustion of engine is considered to be a heart of automobiles. They are defined as any engines use an explosive combustion of fuel and air to push the pistons within a cylinder, forming the repeating cycle known as stroke. Intake, compression, power stroke and exhaust are the four actions of one stroke. The difference between the 2 cycles and 4 cycles engines is number of stroke it used to start fuel reaction of IC internal combustions. Diesel engines, unlike a gasoline, do not spark plugs to ignite the fuel, instead use compressions, but undergoes the same principles of a stroke. Intake, start at the highest point known as a top dead center, that means TDC. The intake stroke allow the pistons suck the fuel air into the combustion chamber through the intake valve port. Next one is the compressions. This compression start from BDC to DDC. The volume on the decreases, pressure and temperature increases. Power stroke, after completion of the compression stroke, the spark plug produces a spark. The electric current created by the spark plug ignite the fuel and air mixers, sending the pistons back down the cylinder within the pressure reach high as 600 psi. The final stage of stroke releases the burned and unburned fuel through the exhaust valve. During this process, the inlet valve is closed, exhaust valve is open. The pistons move from BDC to DDC. It takes all the burned fuel, pushes it out of the cylinder, preparing for the next stroke. This is the pistons, air fuel intake, exhaust and the connecting rod, crankshaft. These are the cut section of engines. Next one is a diesel. Diesel engines work on the sample principle as the 2 and 4 stroke engines. They do not need a spark plug to ignite the fuel. During the intake stroke, air does not mix with the fuel in the cylinder. Instead, as the air reaches high enough, compression fuel is then sprayed into the cylinder, creating ignition. This pushes the piston down the cylinder at a pressure of 500 psi, starting the stroke all over again. The summary: the internal combustion engines have ultimately revolutionized the way we live. With the small and lightweight designs of 2-cycle engines, tasks like trimming the heads and cutting down weeds become easier and more efficient. With the power of the 4-stroke, we are now able to dig up dirt and cut down trees without even breaking a sweat. Internal combustion engines have made life easier since the first one was built in the early 1800s. These are the engines. IC engines classifications based on the stroke, based on the uh, fuel, based on the cylinder, and based on the air cooled or oil cooled.